Welcome along to today's session of the VUWSA Candidates Forum. We will be talking to the Clubs and Activity Officer candidates. My name is Neva, I am from Salient, and I will be hosting the session today.
Hi guys, so my name is Alyssa. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a first year. I study commerce and psychology, hoping to major in economics, finance, and psychology. And my main areas that I want to focus on in Clubs and Activities Officer is engagement, collaboration, and support. So to me, engagement would mean just helping all the students stick with their groups that they're in, and hoping that they would push themselves forward to run for exec positions. In support, I would be looking at giving online support to people who are just connected through their screens. And I'd also look at helping support groups and clubs who have had a comeback, or who have just started recently, or who have new exec members who don't really know the ropes yet. And I'd just like to look at guiding them through that process. And then for collaboration, I would look at just making sure that the uni is run in regards to what the other clubs think it would look like. And yeah.
Beanta's joining us from Sri Lanka.
Yes.
And hence headphones and doing everything online.
So I'll start off with a small brief introduction about myself. My name is Beanta Silva. As mentioned before, I'm tuning in from Sri Lanka right now. I'm an online student and I'm a first year design innovation student. So the reason for me basically running for this role revolve around the fact when I started off my first year, I wasn't too aware about what clubs I could have access to. There was not much information revolving around it, hence me running for this position. So clubs and activities play a huge role in student life. And it brings a sense of community, it helps us with mental health and other sorts of stuff. So one main thing that I'm focusing on running for this role is improving and bridging the gap between off-campus students and on-campus students, which currently I do not see happening as much. And with the current COVID situation, I mean, it's pretty unpredictable. So preparing for that as well, I hope to make clubs more accessible online as well, improving connectivity to anyone, because we never know when Wellington could go into another lockdown. So it's best to have a strategic plan towards such matters. Another thing that I'm focusing on is educating one another, international students, current local students as well, about each other's cultures. Because one, New Zealand is a culturally diverse country, and there are students coming from all parts of the world. So it's really good if we could all communicate with each other, express and educate one another about culture. So these are a couple of the things I hope to highlight in me running for the role as Clubs and Activities Officer for the year 2022.
Perfect. We're going to jump into some questions now. These have been submitted by the student body. Some of them are for all of the candidates today, and some of them are specific to your role.
Yeah.
So you talked about getting clubs to move online, and obviously the relationship between on and off-campus students is one that is really important, as you've highlighted. So how would you get clubs to start to look at moving online? And have you got some ideas about how you could do it?
Yeah, so basically my plan is to help organize with clubs and strategize plans that will help them basically move their programs towards online. I mean, it can't be done with all clubs, but with the majority, I'm hoping that's possible. Even if it's a sports club like an athletics or climbing, I think there's a mountain climbing club as well. We can focus on having at least like bi-monthly meetings with offshore students, engaging with onshore students, sharing experiences, tips, and even having short mini-series on social media that can give you the exercise routines and stuff like that. So that's focused mainly towards sports and other extracurricular activities. But I've noticed clubs like VUWSA, which is the Victoria Esports Association, clubs like that can engage more online by hosting more events that can actually involve a lot of international students as well. So helping build that, and also a better social media presence. I've gone through quite a few of the social media accounts, and most of them are doing really well, but I think we can do a bit more towards engagement and getting students involved. Like, like grab them and, join the club, stuff like that. So to do this, I'm planning on having a support and planning phase with all club executives and their marketing teams. And it's not going to be someone overseeing them, but it's going to be clubs sharing each other's perspectives, ideas, and opinions, and tips and tricks that they follow to push their clubs online. So clubs can talk with each other and share plans and ideas that they choose to follow in increasing and improving engagement with other students. This doesn't go just for international students, this goes for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, have you got any plans to perhaps set up a VUWSA club's social media, or to do more than just, they have the club's day twice a year? Would
Yes,
you build on that?
because currently during the orientation process, me personally having orientation online, I didn't have much of a background on what's happening in clubs and activities. Like, it's very brief. Okay, there's a section on this web page where you can go and look at the club's directory, contact them separately. But I don't think a lot of students are really going to go and, going through the links and stuff to figure this out. I think it's better if we can create a much more engaging environment for students using social media, because in the current generation, like everything is on social media. So hoping to focus on that as well, boosting clubs engagement through social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any proposed changes to the way the club process currently works? You talked a little bit before about you'd like to help clubs move through that process and be able to support them with that. How is there a specific part of the process you'd like to do that, or how would you do this?
I wouldn't say that there is a specific process, because I feel like I would have to know more about the process first, or like become part of that in the first hand. But I think that overall, it would be really useful for like rep groups and just other groups in general to have some sort of safety training, especially because there are a lot of people who are part of clubs that are like conflicts of interest. So I think that that would be good if we had some kind of safety training or some kind of information about like what we can do in those situations. And I just think like being mindful and like respectful of everyone else who has different experiences, and like creating spaces that are more equitable for them would be really good, especially in club spaces.
Yeah, for sure. And have you got any examples of like an event or gathering you'd like to see happen, whether it be clubs orientated or something online?
So one thing that I would like to see is a cultural event. I believe it could be done both on campus and online, where students representing or like each and everyone's cultures could, have either a talent show, something, like a forum even to express about their cultures, because there's so much we can learn about from each other. I've learned so much in the past 6 months from my fellow colleagues, and that's because I like reaching out. But some people don't really do that during Zoom classes, because you're just behind the screen. Some people don't switch on their cameras. But if you have a more engaging, like you see all the university students joining in, having like a massive talent show, and online students also have access. So recently, VUWSA, the International Students Association, held a talent show. It was mostly onshore students and offshore students, and mostly targeted towards international. But stuff like that really get people engaging. I believe with a bit more guidance, we can enhance those events and get more students active.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. Where do you think clubs sit in terms of the university environment? Do you think that they're quite a big part? Do you think they have an impact for a lot of students? And if you think yes or no, why do you think that?
I think that clubs and the relationship between students and clubs is more of an interactive environment. So I wouldn't say that you always get back what you put in, but it seems to be kind of like probable that you'd get back what you put in. So like if you work hard or if you like are part of multiple clubs, you kind of make events and hold events and help it with that. You can kind of like see, you kind of like get back the experience that you can put in like your CVs or just have there for future reference. And
yeah, for sure. How would you increase the interactions between clubs? Because a lot of these events you're talking about is like a joint thing across a lot of the campus and a lot of the different groups we have. How would you get clubs to talk to each other?
So, like previously mentioned, apart from AGMs, like annual general meetings, I hope to organize at least every 6 months. Ideally, it would be best if we could have at the start of each trimester where we have all club executives joining in and having a strategic plan for that particular trimester. So having a meeting like that could help us with strategizing for future plans and also getting ready for whatever problems that may come up in the future. And doing it, I believe, at the start of each trimester is perfect. But if that's not possible, at least every 6 months.
If you personally had a conflict of interest within, perhaps, say, the VUWSA Executive or amongst, because I understand you're a member of quite a few clubs
yeah.
and executives and that, how would you balance your own personal conflict of interest and how would you work through that in a professional sense?
So I'm actually looking to, if I get in, I'm actually looking to drop majority of the clubs, if not all, just because I would also have like a heavy workload with that in uni anyway. But if I were to still be part of a few, which I probably will be, I reckon that if I can sort of separate them as much as possible, that would be the best way forward.
Yeah, perfect. And just finally, how will students know that you have achieved, so you're talking about a bit more collaboration and giving, that training in, like, I guess, safety you're talking about and conflict of interest to clubs. How will students know that you've achieved this? Say they were looking back on your term from this time next year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So throughout my entire year, if I get onto VUWSA, I think that I would really like to be just clear with like what I'm going through with clubs and like make sure that I'm updating everyone on the progress that I'm making. And like if then it means through notices or like parts of the salient maybe, or just wherever it's more accessible for everyone, that would be, yeah.
Is there a previous cause or a campaign that VUWSA has championed that has affected you, and how has that affected you? So perhaps this year, is there something that they've done that's really resonated with you?
So one thing that I saw, it doesn't really involve me directly, but campaign-wise, they are doing the Planning for Growth campaign, which focuses on, I believe, student well-being and household, because that's the current situation I believe Wellington itself is facing, because students have to find housing mostly out of the central city, which is a bit difficult. I mean, it doesn't affect me because currently I'm stuck like 6,000 miles away, but it is a really good initiative by VUWSA.
I think one of the campaigns that VUWSA has helped run, but not necessarily carry on their shoulders on their own, is getting all the staff to become on the living wage. And I think that that's really good because it means that people like the cleaners who weren't previously this year on the living wage, that means that they don't have to work between certain hours or like rush between two jobs and they can spend like quality time with the rest of their family or friends and just live a life that's independent of working.
Any last messages you'd like to give to the student body?
No, but have fun. Hopefully the next few weeks will be better than the rest of it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I really want a lot more international, not just international students, but even students who are stuck outside Wellington, Auckland, like currently with the lockdown situation. I want more people to engage with VUWSA, not just VUWSA, but clubs, activities, reach out. Because not many people go the long way to, figure this stuff out, how to join a club and all that. But doing so encourages others also to join. Hence why I'm joining. Regardless of what happens with the nominations and stuff, I just want to encourage more people, take a stand and join. Because university life, like we never know how long COVID could go for. So best, it's make the best of it,